The Hustle are taking on the Texas Legends. The first 3,000 fans will get these Memphis Hustle fanny packs that we are holding up on camera. Jason March, the new head coach of the Hustle, is actually wearing one. You can't see it. He has all of his valuables in it around his waist right now.
No question.
It's good to see you back in town.
Thank you, man. Great to see you, too.
You are a extremely familiar face, right?
Yeah.
Usually if you bring in somebody that is new to the job, you have to meet them for the first time, but you were here for 9 years of your life before the last 3 in Sacramento. I guess the first question is, how did this all happen, right? I mean, I know in Sacramento, Dave's and your whole staff at Sacramento, now you need a job, right?
Yeah,
or you're looking.
That was definitely the first part. I got fired.
Yeah, right.
They decided to go a different direction in Sacramento, and so I was definitely available. And no, it was an interesting summer. It was a long summer, just trying to figure out what was next, and went out to summer league. Had a couple interviews with a few other teams, and then I interviewed with Coach Jenkins. And when I hung up the phone, I said, "Man, if he's as impressed with me as I am with him, I think it's going to be a great fit." And now here we are. So it moved pretty quick, and I couldn't have been happier once they made this offer. And I again very excited to be back in the community, in this city, and with this organization.
Here's a very personal question. Did you still have a contract with Sacramento? Or, I mean, look, we're around the same age. Or did you need a job? Are you sitting there going, oh, my gosh, I need a job?
Yeah, I was done.
You were? The contract
that was it.
Was up.
That was it.
Because Dave's still getting paid.
Yeah. Well, it seems to work out that way. No, he's doing good. Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay, so at that point, are you thinking, I want to stay in the NBA, I'm going to try to get on as an assistant somewhere? Are you open to anything? Are you thinking maybe I'll go coach college? What are you thinking?
I wasn't open to anything. I wouldn't say it like that. I had talked to a few NBA teams. This was something, though, that I wanted to do. It was definitely a step that I felt like would be really good for me, just to continue to grow as a coach. I also talked to a couple college teams actually as well. I wasn't for sure if that was something I wanted to do, but I was definitely willing to listen. But then again, like I said, the phone rang, and had an incredible conversation with Coach Jenkins, and I felt like this was, if they made the offer, I knew that this is where I would be, and they definitely did, and here we are.
Do you think that you would have coached a G League team if it weren't an organization / city? I mean, you lived in Olive Branch for 9 years, that you were not familiar with. Was this the one that was like, okay, if I can live there, I know I'm comfortable there. My kids were born there.
Yeah, I mean, that obviously played a huge role in it. But no, I felt like if the right situation was available, it was something that I was very interested in doing.
Yeah.
I wanted this chance. I wanted, to see how I react in these situations. And so I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait till Friday. And I've said this 100,000 times. I couldn't be more excited to be back with this organization in this city.
Let's go back in time to this organization, because Tony Allen brings your name up many times.
Am I sitting in his seat right now?
You are.
Oh boy,
you are.
Big shoes to fill.
But TA brings you up, and you bring up TA a lot, right? At the relationship that you guys had, because you were cutting up film for him for all those years, and it's every night when you were watching the NBA. Now the film guys, a lot of guys that got their start in the film room, are now head coaches, lead assistant coaches, whatever it may be. So let's go back in time to how you started with the Grizzlies organization, and up to the point where you end up on a bench on Yeager's staff to now running your own show with the Hustle.
Yeah, so I mean, I actually started my first 2 years in the NBA were with the Phoenix Suns. Both of those years were Steve Nash's MVP seasons, so they were.
How much credit do you think you should get for Steve Nash winning the MVP?
I agree. Absolutely, every bit of it.
I agree.
I think he would agree. Actually.
Yeah, I think he would probably tell everybody this would not have been possible without Jason March
But no, two great years in Phoenix, and then Mark Ivaroni got the head coaching job here in Memphis and asked me to come with him. I came here as a video coordinator, as the assistant video coordinator, and things change in this business very often, and so once one change happened, I didn't know what was next. I didn't know, and then they brought in Lionel, and then Dave, and
so how do you stay on from the Ivaroni switch over to Lionel?
Man, if I had the answer to that, what I would say is I worked my butt off. I feel like, I think those coaches knew that they could trust me. I think that's a huge part of it. But I tell people, I get resumes from guys all the time and phone calls, and I try to talk to as many people as I can. But you have no chance if you won't work hard, and I think that's what led to now. But it definitely is what kept me with turnover in this league, and I was very fortunate that someone spoke up for me, because I didn't know Lionel at all when he came in, and I didn't know Dave at all until I was with him on that staff with Ivaroni. So once he got it, I felt comfortable, but you never know. I mean, everyone's got people, and so I felt comfortable because I knew that Dave knew I worked hard. I held on somehow, and obviously happy I did.
All right, well, let's take a quick time out. People hear video coordinator job, and they also hear about all of these guys that started in the video room, and now look where they are. They're on the sidelines, and in fact, a couple of the last former coaches that the Grizzlies have been video room guys that started there, and we're seeing it all across the league. It kind of felt like Spoelstra, Lawrence Frank, some of those were the first ones. So everybody hears that, and especially on broadcast. What is it?
Yeah,
tell me a day in being an NBA video coordinator.
Yeah, everyone asks that question. A lot of people think it's standing behind a camera and filming practice or games, and that's definitely has nothing to do with it. There is a lot of video involved in the job. That's why the name is what it is. It's more of a scout. That's the short answer that I break down for people. But it's video scouting. So you're not out in arenas every other game looking at talent or looking at teams and seeing what they're doing. That is an advanced scout, which I did that as well. But the video coordinator, you're in charge of having video for the players, of post-game film maybe, or practice or what have you. You're also in charge of putting together the scouting reports, working hand-to-hand with the assistant coaches and trying to get the best thing on film to watch pregame or watch before a shoot around, where teams are seeing what the other teams are running, their sets and that kind of stuff. So you learn a ton in that position, just with, first of all, dealing with the assistant coaches and what they're looking for, because everyone's different, and the other thing that you learn is you're watching games every single night, and probably multiple games every single night you're not really watching the players, you're watching the coaches. You're trying to see and steal their plays, what they're running, how they're setting up. You're trying to read it before they say what the play is. And so then your job is to put it on video. So again, that goes back to the name. That's for the coaching staff. For the players, you brought up Tony, so I'll go into a little bit of depth with him. I told a player last year in Sacramento. I actually spoke to one of our players a couple of days ago about Tony. I've never seen a player study film, and I've said this before. I've never seen a player study film like he did. It was no accident that he was as good as he was, because he knew what Kobe was going to do before Kobe did it in a game. That's how much film he watched. He watched guys' tendencies. He picked up just different movements with their bodies. He knew every play that a team was going to run. I did a lot of work. He kept me on my toes. I pulled a lot of film for him, a lot of hours, morning till whatever time, pulling film, and because it's your job to give them not just 100 clips on a guy. You want to give them something substantial where they're seeing what Kobe does, what whoever, every different player every single night. And so I took pride in that, trying to get Tony film that he would respect. He would want to watch more, because I knew if I could fuel that for him, it would keep. That was a big part of who he was, the energy and just playing harder than anyone else. Obviously, he was unbelievable defensively, but I think that was something I took pride in, of just challenging him throughout the film sessions and that kind of stuff, for him to watch film and want more and want more and more, on guys. So that was a huge part of what I did. And then I'll just go into detail, or less detail, with every player, just pulling film for them so they see what the
because
guy.
That's by his request.
Usually,
he's the one saying, "I want this, and this."
Tony did, and not every player does.
Well, because of the level of pride, he knew that's his calling card, and
absolutely,
his goal that night is to stop someone.
His job was to lock down the other team's best player every night.
In his words. And I asked him about the huddles and how he never paid attention. He said, "The play ain't for me anyway."
Tony, go stand in the corner.
That's it.
and I say that jokingly, but he said that. He would
I
say
know where I'm going on offense. I don't need to. I don't need to be in the huddle.
No, but with that said, a lot of people, I know he kind of makes fun of it too, but teams respected him on offense more than a lot of people gave him credit, because Tony was an unbelievable cutter. Yes. He's physical. He used his body very well. And you're talking about a strong guy. I mean, he knew how to play. That's the thing that a lot of people don't really consider with him, because all they saw was just, that dog that I get after you. But he knew the game. Yeah. I mean, he was a smart player. He knew where to be on the floor. Like I said, I don't think he gives himself enough credit for that. I know.
Well, he does now.
Yeah. Well, now he does. Yeah, that's probably not a problem. But I know as coaches,
right,
we never took that for granted. He knew where to be on the floor, offensively and defensively, and then more importantly, his teammates knew that.
Yes.
And I think obviously he had the utmost respect from the organization, the coaches, and his teammates, which we all know. But it wasn't by accident. Again, I tell players all the time, I've never seen anyone that studied as much as he did.
So I cut you off when you were talking about to a lesser extent, other players. So that's the Tony fraction of it, which takes up an inordinate amount of your time in your job.
No, it was a lot of time put in.
But other players do have their own requests, right?
Sure. Oh yeah. I mean, Mark was a film guy. No one was like Tony was, but Mark watched film. Mike was different in Mike. I almost said he liked to see numbers. I don't know that he ever liked it, but he put up with me throwing it in front of him. And in the end, I felt like it helped him. But I would show him, hey, you're guarding this guy tonight. He goes right 98% of the time. He's not going to go left. And then I would have film to back up my point on that with those type of things. So just as the video coordinator, that is your job. Obviously, the assistant coaches have a huge part of that as well. But I don't know. I was here for so long. I had a great relationship with those guys, and the coaches knew that, they came to me for things, and I could throw things in front of them at any time. And, if they said, "Jay, this is so stupid. Why aren't we watching this?" I'm fine with that. But I felt like it was something that could help. They weren't going to hurt my feelings. I knew I wasn't going to hurt their feelings for sure. So
you have to have a passion for this.
Yeah,
because otherwise it becomes incredibly tedious and boring.
Yeah,
if you're watching all those games every night, I mean, I'm sure even if you love it,
you
got a passion, you got to be like,
the other thing is when I first got here, I had just gotten married. Then we had kids, and so you do want to have time with your family too. That's extremely important as well. So, but and it's not just the players; the coaches are asking you for film as well. Every day, and so you're in the office a lot. But that's what I say to everyone who's trying to get in. Like, if you're not willing to work, you're not going to make it. Mm-hmm. Or you may make it, you may stick around for a little bit, but you're not going to move up
because another guy will put in those hours.
Absolutely,
to get in the league.
There's someone coming for your job all the time. It's not just players.
Did you feel like, I know this is going to sound like an odd question, that sometimes you might have been even less well versed when you become an assistant coach? Because as the video coordinator, it is your life, and you have to be honed in on all of these teams and all of these players and everything that is going on, that in this weird way, the lesser job right, makes you feasibly more prepared for what's going to be happening in games than sometimes the day-to-day.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll even, it's a good question, and I'll go even a little bit further with that. But as an assistant coach here over the last few years that I've been in that role now, one thing that I always felt like was, as a video coordinator, I was able to have better relationships with the players because I'm sitting in the locker room, on the road, because we don't have this huge building. We're on the road, and so I'm sitting in there with them every day. I'm hearing what they're saying, and they have to know that they can trust me. So it was as an assistant coach, then it was a little bit different. Like, I wasn't in all those player-to-player conversations and that kind of stuff, which I was very happy to be out of some of those.
Sure,
too.
I understand.
But it was different. It was something I had to get used to and just understand it's a different role, and what I needed to do to still help the player get better. More of that is then on the court as an assistant.
And that's what they care about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
They'll like you as a coach if they think you're helping them get better. This is an interesting role for you because now you are coaching young guys and you are tasked with developing players.
Yep.
You just went from a place where you're tasked with developing players, and that's De'Aaron Fox, and that's Buddy Hield, and that's Marvin Bagley, and that's Harry Giles, and on and on. I mean, that was a young team that you guys had in Sacramento. The lessons of teaching those guys, because you had a lot of veterans. You know what I mean? It wasn't a lot of player development when you were in Memphis, right? Now, I guess early it was. But late, those were veteran teams for the most part, and certainly for the players. Very young team that you guys had in Sacramento that you were progressing with. The lessons of teaching and working with those guys, Fox, Hield, Bagley, et cetera, on a day-to-day basis, and kind of like how you apply that to now, you're in the same role. I mean, this is a player development job.
Yeah. I think the last 3 years prepared me greatly for what I'm walking into now. I think just as you said, very young team in Sacramento the last 3 years. The one thing that is that helps with all of that is when you have really good guys. And I've been very fortunate, as I am now, to have a great group of guys to coach and try to work with and try to develop. Because if guys aren't willing to listen and to take what you're trying to give them, makes it a lot harder, obviously, just like with anything. But in Sacramento, we had a phenomenal group. We had guys that were hungry to get better, and they did. And now here we are with that is the majority of this role, and it's something that I definitely don't take for granted at all. I know that is my job and something that I'm excited to do. And I feel like, we've put so much time into trying to be ready for the start of the season. As a team, now we're starting to get into our individual stuff and our breakdowns and development part with these guys, and having these conversations with my group of assistant coaches of what I feel like we have to work on for these guys, because every player is different. You have to find something that they're going to grasp and feel like they're getting better at it. So then you can start working on the next thing. Next thing. So it's I try to take the challenge out of everything and find out what it will be. And I'm having a blast with this group. I think everyone will see we have a great group of guys. We have guys that are working hard and guys that are in different situations. So it's been fun so far, and I expect it to be going forward.
Let me ask you about two of those guys specifically. Why did Fox get so much better? Why did Hield get so much better beyond the great kids and their hard workers?
Yeah. Well, I think our first when we first went in, we had DeMarcus Cousins. We brought in Zach Randolph. We had Vince Carter. We had a great group of veteran guys. DeMarcus, we played slow. We went into the post. With Zach. When we drafted De'Aaron, we knew what his strength was, and we knew we had to change as a staff for how we did things. And you're always trying to put the players in the best chance for them to succeed, and I think that's one thing that we didn't hesitate to do. We still knew that we needed to play the right way, and we still wanted execution. But we knew we had to start getting up and down the floor. And I think we set the tone in training camp that this is what we're going to do. We're going to play fast. And once we did that, it was lights out, man. We put the horse with the ball, and he led the way. And
he's special.
He's special. And there's another one right here that's in this building that is that I see every day. And I see some of the same things I saw 2 years ago.
Where it's like when they figure it out,
man,
you got trouble.
Man, and the guy over here in this building, he's he's doing some things that are catching me by surprise, honestly, just because of the last 2 years with De'Aaron, that maybe took him some time. And Ja will have things that needs to take him some time too, but you can see special talent when it's out there, and I think everyone's starting to see that. And man, this place it's going to be exciting for a long time.
I know one of the things you have said, and Roser said the other day, is you ran them in training camp, etc. And part of that was a lesson of Sacramento, that if we want to play fast, we have got to be in elite level shape.
No question.
Nobody likes running.
No one, including myself. I say this with all seriousness. I hated standing over there making these guys
blowing
do
the
this.
whistle.
I really did, but I wouldn't have done it if I didn't believe 100% that it would work. And I saw it from the time we did it at training camp in Sacramento. Our guys came in better shape than anyone else. And when the fourth quarter came and that first month of the season, and we saw the other team, the guys hated it. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. They hated it. We had trash cans around the court for the first few days of.
This is in Sacramento.
This is in Sacramento, and that first month of the season, man, fourth quarter came, and guys were bending over, grabbing their shorts, and the other coaches taking a timeout, and De'Aaron and these guys are coming to the bench. They're tired. They didn't run them sevens. They're done. They're done. And it was like a reward for us.
Right.
And they our guys, they were like, hey, we're gonna go faster now. We're gonna play faster because they're toast. And it was I told our guys, and I'm very upfront with our group, very honest with them, and I told them, I said, listen, I promise you we wouldn't be doing this if I knew it wouldn't work. But I know that it's going to work for you guys. We're going to be in good shape. We're going to play fast in South Haven with these guys. So it's something that I felt very strongly about doing. They hated it. But they did it, and he can tell you he was in there and he saw them, and they got through it. We pushed them to get through it. We put a clock on it, and I'm obviously hoping it pays off for us too, because I do want to play fast.
You know that a lot of people are going to be paying attention to what Josh Jackson does playing for you. We joked on the show when they announced that Josh Jackson was, in fact, going to stay with the Grizzlies organization, but that he was going to be playing with the Hustle to start off. He has made his mistakes in life, but surely does not want his last NBA performance to have been had, right? So he is focusing on, and I've listened to him talk, trying, he's not resentful about his position where he is right now, et cetera, et cetera. But we joked, you got Josh Jackson dropped like 30 on the Grizzlies like a year ago. Okay, so yeah. I was like, Jason March is living right because he's got some players on this team. But him specifically, what you have noticed so far with Josh, and that whole this is humbling. There's no way around it. But kind of what he brings to the table for what you guys are going to be doing. Yeah,
I've made it very clear to him I want the best for him, and I mean that. We've spent a lot of time together. To just go back on what you said, I couldn't be happier. I mean, the guy can play. He's talented. So very excited to have him. With that said, we have things that we're working on, and he's done everything we've asked. He's worked really hard. Our group as a whole has worked hard. and we've pushed them, and we've pushed him, and we will continue to do that every day. I'm going to coach these guys. I'm going to coach them hard, but I want them to know that I'm here for them. And I'll do whatever I can to help him. And that's not just him. That's every guy that's on our roster. I think they know that. They're starting to learn me a little bit and how I want to be and how I want to coach. And I think they're seeing, like, I'm gonna stay after them. I'm gonna push them, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it in a way where, this is the G League. It's a grind. It's gonna be. It gets hard. I understand that. I've gotten great advice from Coach Jenkins, Coach Jones, some other guys around the NBA that I've talked to, and I think I have really good people that I can fall back on for a lot of these situations, including some of the guys that are right here in this building. And I want to make this fun for our guys. But with that said, I want to give them every opportunity to succeed and for that phone to ring for a call-up. And that's not just one guy. That's every one of them. I expect our roster to change because I've got goals that I've set for myself as a coach to get these guys to get to their ultimate dream, and that's Josh, that's John, that's Yuta, it's our entire roster, and we've got Marcus Teague on our team. He played 4 years in the NBA, I believe. So we have a group of guys who know. They've kind of been around. Jared Udoff, a good player, man, a heck of a player, and I'm really excited about our team. I'm going to continue to push them. I'm going to continue to push Josh. I'm going to continue to make them work as hard as they can every single day. And I think they're starting to learn that really quickly. Our practices are pretty intense, but I'm not going overboard. I'm not trying to be stupid with our guys. We open the season with 3 games and 4 nights. So I want them to know I do care about them. I don't want to just destroy their bodies and run them into the ground, but I'm going to coach them hard. I'm going to I have high expectations for myself and for them as players, and I know that's the only way that phone rings is if they do every single little thing that matters.
How'd you put together your staff?
Yeah, that was something, obviously never done that.
Right.
So it was something that I took very seriously. I knew I had to have a good group of guys for the roster that I saw coming together. I was able to keep 2 guys on the staff that were here last year, Brett and Alex, and got to know them. That was my first goal, was getting to know them and building that relationship. And then I did a lot of talking, a lot of calling. Talked to a lot of different guys, and in the end came up with 2 other guys that I felt very comfortable with, and then I did not even know that one of them played for Coach Jenkins and Coach Jones and Michael Joyner. I was with him at Florida State.
Wow.
He was a player. I was a guy running around, sweeping the floors, doing anything I could to get my foot in the door and trying to get back into the game. And Mike was a heck of a player for the Seminoles at the time, and so I called a few guys and asked questions before I called him to see if I thought he would fit. And when I presented it to Coach Jenkins, he was like, "I coached him in Austin." I was, what a small world, right?
Wow.
And then Brad was with him, and then Alex was with him, who was also on our staff. And so
you didn't know you knew none of that.
I honestly did not know that.
That's incredible.
when it first happened. And so just how it all worked out was incredible. So when I talked to Mike, I knew he would be a good fit for us. He's been through this league. And then I'll just go ahead so we don't go too long on it. But then Cardell Johnson is his real name. Everyone knows him as Squeaky Johnson.
I could not believe when I got that press release. I was like, Squeaky Johnson.
Yeah,
he was part of real Memphis UAB wars.
Yeah.
Those old Mike Anderson teams were.
No question.
You want to talk about playing fast?
Yep.
But he knows playing fast.
And so you just answered the question. Like,
Yes.
I knew this was the guy. If we were able to get him, I knew that this was the guy we wanted.
Where was he?
He was living in Houston and working with mentoring kids and
Wow.
and helping some kids that have been through some really tough situations. And again, just his background, Mike's background, they both played in the G League at D League at the time for a long time. Squeaky also played for Taylor and Brad. So it's crazy. A lot of people probably look at it like, oh, this was, set up type of thing. It
Right.
really wasn't. Like, how it all worked out is incredible. And man, you talk about a good group of guys. I think we've got 4 guys on the staff that can give in different areas. And like I said, Squeaky and Mike have been through this league. They know the grind. They know the travel. They also know what it's like for that phone not to ring and to not get that call-up call to get there. Mike never got that call. Squeaky did. He got it. He was up with New Orleans. So he got a taste of it. But then it was taken away too, So he's had some stuff in his personal life that I don't think he would mind me saying, he's gone through and came out on the good side. And Mike as well, just his background, I think he'll help our guys and a lot of knowledge. And then you go to 2 guys who've kind of been around this league a little bit, coaching and seeing different things. Both Brett and Alex worked in college. 2 guys that I've grown to know and trust, and then just hard workers and want the best for not only us as a group, but the organization. And in the end, that's what we're all trying to do, right? Develop these guys and eventually, hopefully, they can take a step up to help the Grizzlies, or if not, somewhere.
All those years in a video room and then on a bench, and now you're finally a head coach. What is different about being the head guy than even you envisioned?
Well, having to have everything organized would be the first thing. I'm very organized as a person, I think, in my personal life as well. And that's something that I've learned real quick. That
Always? If I walked in your bedroom, are there clothes on the ground?
No.
Oh, you're that organized.
I would go deeper, but you're going to think
What,
I'm
go
crazy.
ahead.
My shirts are hung, short sleeves, long sleeve.
Really?
White shirts are here, red shirts.
Socks, all different drawers? Dress socks and athletic socks, are they separated? Or are they all in a sock drawer?
They're all separated.
Oh, my God. I'm going to tell you this. You would have a seizure if you walked into my closet.
I mean, I'm not. I don't feel like I'm crazy about it, because if it's not that way, like I'm not gonna I'll be okay.
Same with like hotel rooms. If you walk in a hotel room, your stuff is you're just packing the stuff up and you're out of the room, and it's like you never.
I live out of my suitcase
in there
in a hotel. I don't put stuff in drawers. I'm not that guy. I live out of the suitcase. But so I'm not as crazy.
All right.
But no, my socks. I mean, it's hard because you have your dress socks that you have to wear for games, so you have to keep those separate. And then you do have your basketball socks.
No, I wish I was like you. There will be a game tonight. I'll have to get ready for the pregame, and I will look everywhere for my dress socks.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm really organized. I think that's been a huge help for me. But I've also learned that I can be more organized from Coach Jenkins. He's as detailed as anyone I've probably ever been around.
In what way?
In every way.
Time wise,
in every way.
At this time we do this. At this time we do this, or
in every way.
Oh, really?
I've learned a lot from him, and I know what I can do better.
But does that make you feel a little less crazy?
No, I don't think so.
Do you think he's short sleeve, long sleeve? We gotta ask him.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably so.
You think so?
Probably so. But I know he's extremely organized, and he has a plan for everything, and I love that. I think that's a huge plus for your players. If you walk in every day knowing exactly what you want to do, and like I said, I got to spend quite a bit of time with him when I first got here, and had a lot of communication with him, and I learned a lot in a short period of time from him as to some things that I know that I could do better, just going forward, and things that I wasn't expecting as being in the head coaching seat. that I took from him in just that short period of time that has helped me here over the last month, because there is a lot of stuff. There's stuff coming from every direction, and obviously for him, it's double that amount from what I'm getting. So he was a huge help for me right out of the gate, just with that kind of stuff. And you just heard me. I thought I was pretty organized.
Yeah, right.
But he those little things, I don't think you can't substitute it, man, because things change. Mike and Mark taught me at a younger age, for me, that routines were very important, and to have a routine. And so I've always stuck with that, and I've tried to pass that on to guys throughout the years. And I still live by it. So I try to have that routine every day and I tell the players, I just had this conversation with some guys, you never know what's going to happen in life. I mean, things can happen. We had a guy that an ultimate tragedy in his family happened, but he had a routine. He knew what he was going to do day in and day out. And nothing helps those situations, but it definitely helps you with your job and what you're expected to do every night on the court for players. And then for me, as being prepared for those guys, so I'm never wasting their time in the gym. So
last two things. You were part of the greatest moments in Grizzlies history up to this point. The thing that stands out the most, the thing you think about the most?
The family. It was everyone was in 100%. Guys pushed each other and knew that they could say whatever they wanted to each other, and they may go back and forth, but in the end, we were all in this thing together. And me as a video coordinator or advanced scout, whatever I was doing that year, I wasn't in that locker room as a player, but it didn't matter. Like we all had a goal, and we all knew what we were doing. Like I said, Tony knew that I was going to give everything I had to try to make him better. And in the end, it was on him to do it. But Mark, Zach, they knew that we were going to push each other. I was going to push them from whatever my job was. They knew Mark was going to push them. They knew Mike was going to, it was a family, man. And it was, I still have great relationships with all those guys. I feel like, Zach came with us to Sacramento. I mean, that's how much we love that guy. And
what game would you want to replay?
The triple overtime. Triple overtime.
The Oklahoma
City. Yeah.
That's the one that bothers you still to this day?
Absolutely.
Stupid James Harden.
Bad, man.
Do you know?
There's one more.
Do you know that? Do you know this? That the next year, when I showed up to training camp, I saw Lionel showed me his iPad. Now this is you want to talk about wild. Lionel showed me his iPad. The screenshot on the iPad was Grievous running away from Harden.
Yeah.
Back down. And I'm like, okay, you got to let this go.
It hurt, man.
Because he said, right, Westbrook drives down under the goal. It's natural. Yeah. And Grievous is trying to block the pass, and he throws it all the way back out to Harden.
Yeah, it's man.
That's the one.
Still think about it, like
I don't want to make you think about it.
No. But that's how we knew we knew we had it. And man, we felt like, I think everyone, I think Mark, Zach, TA, I think everybody, Mike, they would tell you, I think when it was over, we felt like we just let everyone down. We put in all this work, and
but those guys are all heroes.
They are.
And
to this day, to this day and forever, they'll always be together. Yep. That group, and man, it was a great time. I'm sitting here talking about the negative, but what an unbelievable time. And the other one, though, let's talk one more. Zach, they got him for, who was it, Steven Adams?
Oh, the bogus punch.
Going back down the floor. That one still pisses me off a little
Game
bit.
7.
Yeah.
We had to start Mike Miller.
That was
at power forward.
Yeah.
We started off hot, too.
Kind of knew we would, right?
Miller knocked down some shots.
You kind of felt like we would. Mike's going to do what he's going to do. But yeah, that one, that
Oh, any high-profile team, no way they lose their best player for a Game 7.
Yeah, that was
no way.
That one was
no way.
That one just wasn't right. It didn't feel like
It's wrong. We were
but,
wrong.
But no, man, Mike
agree
came in. Mike came in, and you knew what he was going to do.
Oh,
you just know, like,
yes.
Mike's going to come in. He's going to let it fly.
Yep.
We're going to get off to a great start. Now, can we sustain it? And it, in the end, we didn't. But that one still hurts. But nothing like the triple overtime.
All right, last thing. You are a massive Florida State fan. Your coach has been fired.
Come on.
Who do we want to be the
Friday
Florida State
night
coach?
Friday night in South Haven. We're going to open up. We're going to
Coach, you better answer this question now, because if you don't answer it and you win Friday night, when you come on postgame with us, I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
No one's going to come to our games Friday night if I answer it how I.
Oh no!
Oh,
You stay away from Mike Norvell.
you gotta stay away from Mike
You
Norvell.
stay away from Mike Norvell.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I'm not trying to.
You can have anybody else.
I'm gonna
You
check my
stay
phone
away.
later, and my Twitter's gonna be sending me messages. I didn't say anything, but there's one guy that I know. Man, I would love to see in Tallahassee.
That's fair.
But I think it's fair. I think it's fair. I mean, everyone.
He's an amazing
you guys all
coach.
know.
Listen, you want your coach to be wanted.
Exactly.
Right.
And the guy can coach. He can recruit.
Stop talking him up, Marge.
No, but here.
Fanny packs Friday.
But here's the other. Let me
Turn
say,
his mic off, Roser.
let me
Turn
say
his
this.
mic off.
Hold on. So I've never met him, but there's something about the guy. Like, the players love him, and they love to play for him. I think the people in the city love him, and like that's who you want. Like if you're in my situation,
I know.
Florida State, like why would you not want this guy?
No, I mean that's a good thing for
I'ma
Memphis.
tell you
If they legit want him or have interest in him, like if you're a Memphis fan, like to have your football coach wanted by a school who's won 3 national championships in the last 30 years, like that's really freaking good.
Here's
like,
what I'm
that
gonna
they would
say.
want your coach.
Norvell's gonna come in here with me and do the show tomorrow. I was gonna ask
I'm
you
gonna-
to come
I'll
up
make
and
sure
meet
I'm
him.
out of the building.
You are the key cards will be changed by tomorrow. You aren't meeting him. You aren't introducing yourself. No.
Yeah,
Memphis
nah.
Hustle Fanny Packs 7 o'clock Friday.
7 o'clock Friday, November 8th.
7 o'clock
Landers
Friday.
Center.
Hey, and I will say this, and this is dead honest. I'm not saying this to promote it. I took my son 2 or 3 times last year. It is the absolute best for kids. It really is, because they can play in the end zone. There's basketball stuff going on. There's all kinds of games that are going on in the end zone for dead time. They can go do that, and at halftime or whatever. Then they watch some of the game, and then they bring players out to sign autographs and stuff after the game. And an 8-year-old doesn't know the difference.
If you're looking
you know
for a family atmosphere that's fun, I think it's very well priced. That you can go down with your family and have
they got good concessions and a lot of bathrooms.
yeah.
And for parents, it matters.
I have 2 young kids, and so I've asked a lot of questions about what all happens at the games, and I have heard nothing from, and not just our people. Of course, they're going to say it's great, but from people in the community that it is a great atmosphere. It's a lot of fun. Just you're up close. It's personal, and come out and see us. Come out.
Yep.
The coach may not be very good, but the players are going to work their butts off. They're going to be fun. But
you're 0-0.
Hey, we're
Not
undefeated,
telling you
baby.
this,
Undefeated.
If you lose Friday, I am ripping your ass.
As you should. As you should. I would expect nothing more.
You're gonna be just fine. Friday night, Hustle versus the Texas Legends down in South Haven. You're the man. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you
and
guys very
congrats on
much
the
for having me.
gig.
Thank you.
Back after this, Chris Vernon Show.